Hey there. So, a while back, I wrote a blog post to address what is by far the most common thing I hear from people when I tell them I'm a flower essence practitioner. I totally meant to do a video to go along with it. It was a couple of months ago, but life kind of got in the way and I never got it done. But today is the day. We are going to talk about the differences between flower essences and essential oils. I hear it all the time from people. I tell someone what I do and they'll say something like, "Oh, I love flower essences. I always put lavender oil into my bath at night." Or sometimes it's, "I use eucalyptus in the diffuser whenever my kid has a cold." Because lots of people in the US are familiar with essential oils, but not that many are really familiar with flower essences beyond maybe Rescue Remedy or something like that. So it's a super common confusion that people have. And today we're going to set the record straight, so let's get started. First of all, though, I want to share an analogy. I'm going to give another one a little later, but this one is my favorite. And it goes like this. Comparing flower essences to essential oils is kind of like comparing a rainbow to a hurricane. And I don't mean it in the sense that essential oils are destructive like a hurricane or anything. I just mean that while they're both expressions of nature's power, flower essences and essential oils really exist on opposite ends of the healing spectrum. You know, they're complementary to each other, but they work through really different pathways. So essential oils are taken in through the physical senses of smell and sometimes taste, which can then impact the emotions, while flower essences work directly on a person's emotional state, which can then help shift the physical imbalances in their body. So so moving on, we're going to break down the four biggest differences between flower essences and essential oil. And the first one, and probably the biggest difference, which we've already kind of touched on a bit, is the scent. So on the one hand, flower essences have really little to no scent other than the small amount of brandy, vodka, sometimes apple cider vinegar that's used to preserve them. So they're like the little tinctures. I should probably have one here to show you. On the other hand, though, essential oils function primarily through the smell and the effect of their scents on the old or like primal brain. Okay, so the second difference is what they're used for. There is quite a bit of overlap, of course, but again, they're coming at the issues from totally different directions. Modern flower essences were originally developed by a medical doctor named Dr. Edward Bach, and he used them to treat patients' physical illnesses by first addressing their emotional states or kind of emotional constitutions and how they felt about their physical illnesses. And we still use them that way today. But the average flower essence user will most often reach for them for issues like anxiety, grief, depression, ADHD, lack of confidence, low self-esteem, stress, breaking bad habits, or even to help them decide on a new direction in life. And flower essences are really a physical medicine that support the emotional or energetic body. Essential oils, on the other hand, are also used to support feelings of stress, fatigue, anxiety, depression, but they can also be used to help more acute physical symptoms such as sinus congestion or headaches, things like that. The third big difference between flower essences and essential oils is how they're made. So flower essences are a vibrational medicine that gently shifts and supports a person's emotions, but doesn't have any sort of biochemical effect on the body. So that it doesn't do anything to your body chemistry. And they're made by soaking a small quantity of fresh flowers in spring water, not unlike making a sun tea or something like that. And the resulting water is what we use. They're most often taken internally, kind of like you would an herbal tincture, so like in a little bit of water or something. But sometimes they're applied topically, especially when they're being used for children or animals. And one of the coolest things, really one of my favorite things about flower essences, is that they can be made and used by anybody. Anyone can make one, anyone can identify their emotion, figure out what flower essence they need to use and just use it. So very simple. Essential oils are powerful and concentrated plant extracts that can create physiological changes in the body. They're produced from huge quantities of plant materials. So the flowers, roots, seeds, bark, just kind of depending on the location of the volatile oils in the plant. They're usually made by steam distillation, though sometimes they're created using the expression method, which presses the oils out of the plants. And sometimes lower grade essential oils are made by using chemical solvent extractions, which is kind of gross. But finally, making essential oils involves a lot of really specialized and sometimes really expensive equipment, along with a lot of knowledge about how to make them. So it's definitely a process. And then finally, I want to give you the safety talk. Flower essences are safe and effective for everybody. So babies, children, adults, the elderly, pets, and even plants. If you have a plant that's not feeling so good, you can throw a little rescue remedy in there. They will not adversely affect or interact with any medical conditions, the use of any medications, or any other variables, such as special dietary needs, so any diet that you're on. The only side effect people may experience is like the temporary just kind of intensification of whatever emotional state they're working with. So if you're working with anxiety, you may temporarily just kind of feel a little stirred up, but that usually passes really quickly. So, and as we mentioned earlier, they're perfectly safe to take internally or to use topically, and you can use them in any dosage. They'll never do anything bad to you. Essential oils are also safe for most people to use, but there are more variables that have to be considered than when using a flower essence. Most oils can't be applied what's called neat to the skin, so just straight out of the bottle. They need to be diluted with a carrier oil. So don't come at me for saying this, essential oil people, but taking an essential oil internally is generally not advised, other than under a strict set of circumstances, and there's only a few that you really should take internally. They can actually be quite poisonous and lead to things like nausea, vomiting, convulsions, and even one case of confirmed death. I think it was an older man. But another thing to consider is that some essential oils can be poisonous to pets if they're used in a diffuser. So definitely cross-reference any oil you're going to diffuse in your house if you have pets. And now to sum it all up, I want to tell you the other analogy that I've heard somewhere along the way that I like to use when explaining the difference between regular herbal remedies, essential oils, and flower essences. And that is that the plant, so like tinctures, bulk herb, that's like the body of the plant, like the body of the herb. Essential oils are like the blood of the plant, or like the circulatory system. And flower essences are like the spirit of the plant. And, essential oils and other herbal remedies extract and concentrate the physical properties of the plant, while flower essences collect and store the more subtle energetic properties of the plant. And, I'm obviously a huge proponent of flower essences, and I use them almost exclusively in my practice at this point. But I do also have a great deal of respect for essential oils when they're utilized safely and properly. And, even though flower essences and essential oils could hardly be more different, they can both play an important part in people's health and well-being. So hopefully this little video has helped to clear up the confusion if you had any. And thanks for listening. Have a great day.